Despite everything, in the heart of the bustling city, amidst the clamor of honking cars and hurried pedestrians, lived a woman named Evelyn. She was a woman of wealth, grace, and privilege. Her son, Andrew, was the center of her world. Andrew had grown up with the finest things in life, like private tutors, a top-tier education, and everything his heart desired. But as he neared his 30th birthday, Evelyn found herself growing anxious. Though Andrew had everything money could buy, he lacked something that no amount of wealth could provide: a genuine partner to share his life with. Evelyn had watched her son over the years, seeing his success and brilliance, but also noticing the loneliness in his eyes. He had surrounded himself with wealthy individuals, but none seemed to genuinely care for him. None of them truly understood the man he was. She worried that his wealth would attract only those after his money, not his heart. She wanted Andrew to find someone who loved him for who he truly was, someone who could see past the expensive suits and the luxury cars, someone whose heart was pure. But how could she find such a woman? Evelyn had an idea. She would disguise herself as someone less fortunate, someone living on the streets, to see how people treated her. In doing so, she hoped to find a woman with a kind heart, a woman who, when faced with the plight of someone less fortunate, would offer help without expecting anything in return. She knew that such a woman would be the perfect match for Andrew. The plan seemed simple enough. She would walk the streets in tattered clothes, her hair unkempt, and her face covered in dirt. She would stand at the corners of the busiest streets, holding a faded cardboard sign, asking for help. Her disguise was flawless, and she felt a strange sense of exhilaration as she stepped into this new role. She didn't know what she expected, but she was determined to find someone who would offer kindness. As the days passed, Evelyn found herself standing at street corners, feeling the sting of the cold air biting at her skin. People passed by without sparing her a second glance, too busy to notice the woman in distress. Some walked by with pity in their eyes, others with indifference. But Evelyn was patient. She knew the true test would come when someone with genuine compassion would offer her help. On one particularly cold morning, as the sun barely peeked over the horizon, Evelyn stood by the side of the road, clutching a weathered sign that read, "In need of help." She shivered beneath the thin layers of clothing she wore. Her stomach growled, reminding her of the hunger she had learned to ignore in the last few days. She could feel the weight of the world pressing down on her as she stood in silence, her eyes scanning the crowd. Then, just as she began to lose hope, she noticed a young girl walking down the street. The girl was no older than 23, with unkempt hair and a worn-out school uniform that clung to her thin frame. She carried a small brown bag with food wrapped inside, her shoulders hunched as if the weight of her life was too much to bear. Evelyn's heart tugged as she saw the girl walk past her. She was poor, that much was clear, but there was something about the way she carried herself, something kind and genuine that made Evelyn's heart race. The girl paused, glancing over at Evelyn, who gave her a weak, pleading smile. The young girl hesitated for a moment, looking at Evelyn as though she wasn't sure what to do, but then, without a word, she walked over to Evelyn. She opened her bag and pulled out a small piece of bread, wrapped in a napkin. The girl crouched down in front of Evelyn, offering the food to her with a look of concern in her eyes. "Here," the girl said softly. "You must be hungry." Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't expected anyone to stop, let alone offer her food. But here was this girl, who had so little herself, giving away what she had without a second thought. "Thank you," Evelyn managed to whisper, her voice thick with emotion. The girl nodded and turned to leave, but Evelyn couldn't let her go. There was something about her that made Evelyn's heart swell with admiration. The girl had a kindness that was rare in the world, a tenderness that Evelyn knew Andrew would cherish, and in that moment, she realized that she had found the one. But there was more to the story than met the eye. Evelyn would soon learn that the girl's life was far from simple. The girl, whose name was Lily, had been raised by her aunt ever since her mother had passed away from illness when Lily was just a child. Her father had disappeared long before, leaving her to fend for herself. Though her aunt had taken her in, the love Lily so desperately needed was absent. Instead, she faced constant mistreatment. Her aunt's bitterness toward her mother was transferred to Lily, who became the target of cruel words and neglect. Every day, Lily endured the harsh conditions at home. Her aunt would yell at her for the smallest mistakes, often leaving her to do all the household chores, even though she was just a child. The love she longed for was nowhere to be found, and school was her only escape. It was the only place where she felt safe, where she could learn and dream of a better life. But Lily was not without hope. She had a quiet strength that no one could see. Every day, as she walked to school, she would pass the woman on the street, the one with the sign asking for help. She had seen her many times, but today, something felt different. Today, the woman's eyes met hers, and Lily felt a connection, as though the woman needed her just as much as she needed the woman. Without thinking, she took out the food her aunt had begrudgingly given her that morning and she offered it to the woman. It wasn't much, just a small piece of bread, but it was the only thing she had to give. "Here," Lily said softly. "I don't have much, but I hope it helps." Evelyn looked up at Lily, her heart swelling with pride and emotion. This was the kindness she had been searching for. She knew then that she would do anything to protect this girl and ensure that her future was as bright as her heart. As Lily walked away, Evelyn couldn't help but smile through her tears. She had found the one, but there was still so much more to discover. The truth about Lily's life, the hardships she faced, and the journey that lay ahead for them both, Evelyn had no idea just how much she was about to change. But for now, she watched Lily disappear into the distance, knowing that the road ahead would be filled with challenges and that together they would face them. The days passed, and Evelyn's mission continued. She had been dressing in tattered clothes, with messy hair and dirt on her face, pretending to be someone in need. Her plan had been simple: to find someone kind enough to help her. Someone who wasn't swayed by wealth or appearance, but by genuine compassion. And she had found that someone in Lily, the young girl who had so little, had shared what she could every time she passed by Evelyn, offering food, a small coin, or even a friendly smile. Lily didn't have much to give, but she gave it all. Evelyn couldn't help but admire the girl's heart. But now, Evelyn felt a strong pull to know more about Lily. She needed to understand why this girl, living in such poverty, was so generous. She wanted to know what made Lily tick. What had shaped her to be so kind, despite all the hardships in her life? Evelyn wasn't just curious anymore. She wanted to help Lily, to understand the deeper story behind her generosity. So, Evelyn decided to approach Lily again. This time she wanted to know if the kindness was just a passing thing or if Lily could truly be the person she was beginning to believe her to be. On a cold afternoon, Evelyn stood in her usual spot by the street corner. Her clothes were the same, worn, old, and dirty. She watched as Lily approached, just as she did every day, her school bag slung over her shoulder. Evelyn held her breath, not sure what to expect this time. Would Lily offer her food again? Would she keep giving, as she had done every day before? When Lily reached her, Evelyn hesitated for a moment before speaking. She was still pretending to be the poor woman, still in character. But her heart ached with the need to know more about this girl, to help her somehow. "Lily," Evelyn called out softly. Lily stopped, startled, her eyes wide. She hadn't expected the woman to speak to her, but she also wasn't afraid. There was something about Evelyn's voice that made her feel comfortable, as though she had known her longer than the few brief exchanges they had shared. "Yes?" Lily asked, taking a cautious step closer. Evelyn gave her a small smile. "I just wanted to thank you again for your kindness. I've been thinking about how much you've given me, and I wanted to ask you something." Lily tilted her head, curious but unsure. "What is it?" Evelyn took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. She needed to be careful. She couldn't break her disguise just yet. "I'm in a tough place, Lily. I don't have much, and I don't know where to go. I was wondering if you could help me out one more time. Maybe you know someone who can offer me a place to stay, or maybe just some food to get me by for the night." Lily's eyes widened. She had always been the one giving, never the one being asked for help, but she had seen the desperation in Evelyn's eyes, and it tugged at something deep inside her. "I don't know if I can help," Lily said softly, looking down at the ground. "I'm just a poor girl. I don't have a lot myself." Evelyn's heart broke for her. She knew that Lily had little to offer, but she couldn't let the girl's kindness go unnoticed. She had seen enough to know that Lily was different, that her heart was as pure as gold. "I know you don't have much," Evelyn said gently, "but you've already given me so much, more than anyone else, and I want to help you, Lily. If there's anything I can do to make your life easier, I will." Lily looked up, her eyes full of confusion. "But why would you want to help me? You're the one who needs help." Evelyn smiled, the sadness in her eyes softening. "Because you showed me kindness when no one else would. I think you deserve more than what life has given you, and maybe, just maybe, I can help you in return." There was a long silence between them as Lily processed Evelyn's words. She had never had anyone speak to her like this before, especially not someone who appeared as poor as Evelyn. It felt strange to her, like a dream, almost. "Can you tell me more about your life?" Evelyn asked gently. "What's your story, Lily? I want to know everything. You've been so generous to me, and I want to understand more about who you are, why you are the way you are." Lily hesitated for a moment, looking around to make sure no one was watching. She had never shared much about her life with anyone, but there was something in Evelyn's eyes, a sense of care and understanding that made her want to open up. "My mum died when I was little," Lily began quietly. "My dad, I don't know where he is. I've been living with my aunt ever since, but she doesn't care for me. She's always yelling at me, making me do all the chores, And when I don't do them right, she gets angry. I don't think she even wanted me here." Evelyn listened closely, her heart aching as Lily spoke. The girl's life was far from easy, and the weight of it was heavy on her small shoulders. "I try to be good," Lily continued, her voice shaking slightly. "I try to help her, but it's never enough. I don't know what to do anymore. I just want to finish school and get a job, but it feels like it's all too hard." Evelyn reached out and gently placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "You don't have to carry this burden alone, Lily," she said softly. "You deserve so much more, and I promise you, I'll help you find a way out of this." Lily looked up at her, eyes filled with disbelief. "You will?" Evelyn nodded. "Yes, you're a good person, and you deserve to be happy, Lily. And I'm going to help you get there, no matter what it takes." Lily was silent for a moment, taking in Evelyn's words. For the first time in a long while, she felt a glimmer of hope. She didn't know what the future would hold, but in that moment, she knew one thing for sure. Evelyn wasn't just a stranger. She was someone who truly cared, someone who had the power to help change Lily's life. As Lily nodded slowly, Evelyn smiled. It was just the beginning of a new chapter in both their lives, one where kindness would no longer be given in small doses, but as a way of life. The following days were a blur of emotions for Evelyn. She had watched Lily's life unfold before her eyes in a way she never expected, and with each word the young girl shared, Evelyn's heart grew heavier. The more she learned about Lily's struggles, the more determined she became to make a difference. She couldn't just stand by and offer the occasional piece of advice or kindness. She wanted to help change Lily's life, to help her escape the harshness of her aunt's home and find a future where she was safe, loved, and free to follow her dreams. Evelyn knew it wouldn't be easy. The weight of Lily's situation was so much more complicated than she had initially imagined. This wasn't just about helping her with food or shelter for a few days. This was about providing the emotional support Lily had never received. This was about giving her the tools to rise above the toxic environment that had shaped her life. Evelyn found herself unable to focus on anything else. Andrew's search for a wife seemed distant now, overshadowed by the urgency she felt to help Lily. Every time she saw the young girl pass by, her heart ached with the knowledge of what she had endured and the quiet strength she had shown in the face of it all. One evening, after Lily had offered Evelyn her usual food and gone on her way, Evelyn sat on the street corner, her heart heavy with plans. She couldn't help but wonder, was there something more she could do for this girl? Something more than just offering temporary help? Could she offer Lily the kind of life she deserved, the kind of life that no one else had ever given her a chance to have? Evelyn knew she couldn't just give her charity. She had to do something more. The next time Lily appeared on the street, Evelyn was ready. She had taken some time to think deeply about what she could offer, and now she was determined to make a change. "Lily," Evelyn called, as she saw the girl walking towards her with that familiar, tired look in her eyes. Lily turned, her eyes widening when she saw Evelyn standing there. She always wondered why Evelyn called out to her, but she had never questioned it. The woman seemed kind, and Lily had never felt anything but warmth in her presence. She walked over, offering a shy smile. "Yes, ma'am?" Evelyn smiled back, but there was something different in her expression today. It wasn't just gratitude, it was purpose. "I've been thinking a lot, Lily," she said softly, "and I want to help you. More than just giving you food, I want to give you a chance, a real chance at something better." Lily blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" Evelyn's eyes softened as she spoke. "I know things aren't easy for you. I can see it, but I also know you're capable of so much more. You're strong, Lily. You have a heart that could change the world. I want to help you break free from all of this, the pain, the mistreatment, the struggle. I want to give you the tools to build a better future for yourself." Lily's chest tightened at the words, but she couldn't help the skepticism that bubbled up inside her. "How can you help me?" she asked quietly. "I'm just a poor girl. No one ever helped me before." Evelyn reached into her bag and pulled out a small piece of paper. It was an application for a scholarship, a real chance for Lily to attend a better school, one that could give her a chance at a brighter future. "I can't promise you everything, Lily, but I can offer you an opportunity. This is an application for a scholarship. It's for students like you, students who are determined, who want to do more, but just need a little push." Lily's hands trembled as she took the paper from Evelyn's hand. She couldn't believe what she was holding, a scholarship, a chance at a real education. She had never imagined such a thing in her wildest dreams. "But I don't know if I can do this," Lily murmured, looking down at the paper. "I've never been good enough. My aunt, she always told me I wasn't worth anything. She says I'll never amount to much." Evelyn gently lifted Lily's chin with her fingers, guiding her to meet her eyes. "Lily," she said firmly, "don't let anyone else define your worth. Not your aunt, not anyone. You are worth so much more than you've been told. You've shown more kindness than most people could ever dream of. And that kindness, it's your strength. It's what will carry you through." Lily's eyes filled with tears. She had spent so many years believing her aunt's cruel words. She had lived under the weight of those harsh judgments, never imagining she could ever be someone who could achieve more. But here was Evelyn, offering her a lifeline. "What if I fail?" Lily whispered, her voice small and filled with doubt. Evelyn smiled gently. "Then we'll pick you up. We'll try again. I'm here, Lily. You don't have to face this alone." Lily stood there for a moment, holding the application in her hands, her mind racing. Could she really do this? Could she break free from everything she had known? Could she become the person Evelyn believed she could be? Finally, she nodded, her voice quiet but full of new resolve. "Okay," she said softly. "I'll try. I'll fill it out. I'll give it a shot." Evelyn's heart swelled with pride. It was just the beginning, but it was the first step toward a life that Lily had never thought possible. And Evelyn knew, deep in her soul, that this girl had the strength to make it. She could already see the bright future that awaited her, one where kindness, not cruelty, would define her life. Over the next few weeks, Evelyn continued to support Lily, helping her with the application process and ensuring she had everything she needed. Evelyn also reached out to some of her connections in the education system, making sure that Lily's application was given the attention it deserved. It wasn't easy, but Evelyn was determined. She wasn't just helping Lily fill out forms, she was helping her build the foundation for a new life. But Evelyn also knew there was more to be done. She couldn't just help Lily escape her aunt's home, she had to make sure Lily had a safe place to stay, somewhere she could heal and grow. She contacted a local shelter that took in young women in difficult situations, offering them a chance to live independently away from toxic environments. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. A safe space where Lily could be free from the cruelty of her aunt. As Lily stepped into that shelter for the first time, her heart raced. It wasn't a palace. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. And for the first time in her life, she felt like she was truly free. Evelyn had given her more than just help. She had given her a chance. And in that moment, Lily realized something powerful. She wasn't just a poor girl with nothing to offer. She was someone with a future, someone who could rise above the pain of her past and create a life for herself. It was just the beginning, but Lily knew that with Evelyn's support, she could face whatever came next. She could finally dream of the life she had always wanted. And, perhaps, the greatest gift of all was the realization that kindness, no matter how small, could change the course of someone's life. Months passed since Evelyn had first met Lily, and with each passing day, Evelyn marveled at how much had changed in such a short amount of time. What started as a simple act of kindness, one woman helping another, had grown into something far greater. Evelyn had stepped into Lily's life, and in doing so, she had become part of Lily's journey to something better, something real. Lily had taken the first steps toward her future, with the scholarship Evelyn had helped her secure. She had moved into the shelter and started her studies at the new school. The weight of her aunt's cruel words still lingered, but the newfound freedom Lily felt was more powerful than the hurtful memories. Every day she walked into that classroom with a sense of purpose. Every test she passed, every new friend she made, she grew stronger. And with each passing day, Evelyn was there, offering her support, encouragement, and most importantly, her belief in Lily. While Lily's world was changing, Evelyn's mission was quietly coming to fruition as well. As she worked to help Lily, Evelyn had also kept an eye on her son, Andrew, who had been at the center of her original quest. Andrew had always been a good son, and Evelyn had worked hard to find him a wife who could match his heart and his needs, someone who would truly love him, not just his wealth. She wanted him to be happy, to find someone who could see past the riches and care for him for who he really was. In the months that had passed, Evelyn began to notice something that warmed her heart. Andrew had changed. The more he saw Evelyn spend time with Lily, and the more he heard her stories of kindness and resilience, the more Andrew began to look at relationships in a different light. He saw his mother's compassion for a girl like Lily, someone who had so little but so much love to give, and it inspired him. For the first time, Andrew began to focus less on superficial qualities and more on the qualities that truly mattered. And it didn't take long for Andrew to realize that the qualities he admired in his mother were the same qualities he sought in a partner: kindness, strength, and the ability to love without conditions. One evening, as Evelyn and Lily sat at the cafe, talking about Lily's upcoming exams and her dreams for the future, Andrew came to join them. Evelyn had invited him, knowing it was time for him to meet the young woman who had changed her life and, unknowingly, had started to change his as well. When Andrew walked in, his eyes immediately landed on Lily. Lily looked up, a bit nervous but standing tall. She had always felt out of place in these settings, but there was something about Andrew that made her feel safe, not judged. Andrew smiled at her warmly, and for a moment, Evelyn saw something shift in her son. This was no longer just a formality. This was real. This was the beginning of something that could truly work. "Hi, Lily," Andrew said, his voice warm but slightly unsure. "I've heard so much about you from my mother. It's an honor to finally meet you." Lily, who had always been hesitant around new people, smiled back shyly. "It's nice to meet you too. Thank you for everything." Evelyn sat back, watching her son and Lily with a sense of pride and satisfaction. She had found something even more important than the perfect wife for Andrew. She had found a connection, a bond that neither of them had expected but both needed, and she realized that in helping Lily, she had helped Andrew in ways she never imagined. As the evening went on, the conversation flowed more easily. Andrew and Lily found themselves talking about their dreams, their struggles, and their hopes for the future. There was no awkwardness, no forced politeness, just two people getting to know each other without any pretense. Lily could feel the weight lifting off her shoulders. For the first time, she didn't feel like an outsider in this world. She felt seen, heard, and respected. And Andrew, for the first time, saw the true beauty of kindness, strength, and humility. It wasn't something he had seen in the women he had dated before, and it made him realize that maybe, just maybe, this was what he had been looking for all along. Later that night, as Evelyn and Lily walked back to the shelter, Evelyn couldn't help but ask, "So, what did you think of Andrew?" Lily smiled softly, a little shy. "He's different from what I expected. I like him. He listens, really listens, and he's kind." Evelyn smiled, her heart full. "That's all I wanted for you, Lily, to be surrounded by people who see you for who you really are." As for Andrew, he found himself thinking about that evening long after it had ended. He was used to women who were attracted to his wealth, but Lily was different. She wasn't interested in his money or status, she was interested in him, and that meant more to him than he could put into words. He realized that his mother had been right all along. It wasn't about finding someone who fit a certain mold, it was about finding someone with a kind heart, someone who could see the beauty in others and in the world around them. And in Lily, he saw that beauty. Andrew couldn't help but smile. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: his life had already begun to change. Not just because of Lily, but because of the lessons his mother had taught him. The most important relationships in life weren't built on wealth or appearances, they were built on love, kindness, and the willingness to help others, no matter how small the gesture might seem. In the end, Evelyn had found something far more precious than just a wife for Andrew. She had found a connection between two people, forged by kindness, hope, and a shared desire to make the world a better place. And as she watched her son and Lily walk away together, she knew that everything had worked out just as it should. They were both finally on the path they were meant to be on, a path where love, kindness, and understanding would guide their way. Thank you for watching. Please support us by subscribing, liking, and commenting.